Infinity.tv.
Ladies and gentlemen, just like Jesus Christ, we have risen on a Sunday morning to find ourselves resplendent with glory. Here in Glastonbury Tour 2021, the Sunday morning, we are watching a hell of a battle between the Frizee Rascals and Mythago, maybe Mythago. Mythago, the younger one, the Bristol University team. We are low down in the pools, but we are high in spirits, ladies and gentlemen. I am Lorcan Murray, and I am joined by the illustrious Captain America, captain of our hearts and leader of this glorious competition. Ed, how you getting on?
I'm doing great, yeah. It's a beautiful morning.
And this is some beautiful ultimate opening things up here for the Frizee Rascals. They're taking their time, they're working it, and that's just a great cut from behind the defender. I always feel like if you can take your defenders back, you've got them beaten to the mark.
I think our watchers need to be aware that there are infinity stones at play in this match, as there will be throughout today's play.
I think our watchers need to be informed as to what these infinity stones are and what their potential impact on the game could be, Ed.
So the infinity stone today will be played as a kind of wild card. So both teams have a number of stones. Mythago went about trying to collect all of the stones,
which was very impressive. I saw that they got 4 out of 6, I think.
It's a bit reckless as well, because you get all those stones together, the consequences can be quite disastrous.
And there's still opportunity to collect them all today.
It is. They will be circulating around the tournament, and each one has a different effect on the following point.
So this is Mythago here, the team that won 4 of them. Won one, I know, through the Bucking Bronco. Another one, Natalie, got MVP of the exhibition game.
Yeah, and that's why they're on the show pitch this morning. That empowered them to switch their game to this pitch so that we could all be treated to some early Sunday morning sunshine and ultimate.
Sunshine, ultimate, and shenanigans. Oh! And that's Ryan slamming that door in the face of, I think, Pricey. And now looking to go 2-0 up early in this game. Frizee Rascals, Ryan wants the big arcing blade to him, but instead they go for the simple dump pass and mess it up. That's why you got to throw the spice this early in the morning. Nice under from the MVP of the exhibition game, who when I stumbled upon them last night at 3 in the morning was watching highlights. That's what we love to see from the best. Nice predictive cut. Or sorry, predictive block, stepping into the action, knocking it away. And now we want some spice, and there it is. The edge might be curving the wrong way, or it might just be perfect. Fantastic stuff out of the Frizee Rascals early in this game. They're on the end zone line, and they've shown to be clinical when they're in that period of the game.
Lovely stuff there. Of course, there's another element to the gameplay today, which is, of course, there was a big party here tonight. The bar was open till 1:30, and people were partying way beyond that as well. So it's always interesting to see who's going to suffer as a result of their excesses the night before.
And who's going to be booed as a result of their successes the night before. When you think about maybe you finally got that kiss with that significant other who you've been kind of flirting with at a couple of tournaments, a couple of serious tournaments, you had the chit-chat here and there. And now you finally got that magical moment together. You're coming in here energized, buoyed, you're ready to kick some ass. Maybe you drank more than you'd ever drank before, and it was a huge moment of pride. You've finally been accepted by your peers. So much can happen at Glastonbury. Some of it good, some of it bad, all of it entertaining.
So many stories to tell.
And isn't that all life is, but just the attempt to collect and then tell stories.
Ben Lippold on the disc here was the winner of the sock wrestling contest yesterday. That means that he has acquired the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone transforms today into the Mirror Dimension, which hopefully we'll see at some point, because that is probably the most spectacular of the Infinity Stones effects that we can see today.
And here come Frizee Rascals looking to shoot it down the pitch again. Instead, they're just going to opt to travel on a duck pass. I think that was a travel because it definitely helped him get away from the force. Although, this don't lie, so I think that just proves my point. I think the most fun Infinity Stone is the one that I think Devon Masters have. Got the 3-point challenge where they can just throw overheads for the entire point.
Indeed. That is a simple and yet very enjoyable way to play a game of Frisbee.
That was Lippold for Mythago throwing the disc away. He won one of the Infinity Stones by winning the sock wrestling tournament yesterday. Mullet with the big one. Well walked, trailing the line, football feet, and brought in. I would personally say, nope, he's calling it out. The sock wrestling tournament, which is well worth viewing, can be watched on our YouTube if people are interested. As we see Lippold, the champion, lining it up.
I haven't watched that yet myself, so I'll certainly be watching it back and reliving it.
I will also be reliving it. That's an unfortunate drop. Kind of misread it a little bit as Frizee just seemed far more composed, and then they throw it away themselves. So I don't really know what I'm talking about.
I understand that Ben Lippold was quite the worthy winner.
He was. Things got physical and they got intense, as I think everyone was aware they would be when you put two men, or two people actually, in that situation. As here comes Lippold looking to get physical, going down the line, and pops it back into the middle. So Mythago going through their sets, taking some time here, which is important to do, collecting those catches, waking themselves up in the morning. They are the ones who moved this onto the show pitch, so it would be a little ironic if they then got walked. So that's why they're starting to put up a fight, 2-1.
Yet to see any Infinity Stones play. I think both teams want to shake off their Sunday morning cobwebs first before spicing things up with the effects of the stones.
Well, only one of the teams has them, right?
But there are stones on both sides.
Oh, really?
Mythago were collecting them, but who are
Frizee Rascals?
Frizee Rascals have also brought an Infinity Stone to the game in the shape of the Hulk Stone.
How did they get that one?
That would have been one on the rodeo, yeah, the rodeo bull. So the best time on the rodeo bull earns that particular gem. And the Hulk, although traditionally associated with anger, in this context, he's actually a symbol of peace.
Oh.
And it's a communal 3-minute chill out timeout,
which you have to take together. That is a lovely pull.
You can take it as you wish.
So that's a very pleasant Infinity Stone power. Probably not the most exciting, but we'll take it. As Frizee Rascals looking to take what they have available to them against Mythago.
Nice
One, and it's a deep shot to Jake. Well read, targeting the mismatch in the backfield. And then another pop, but that was a close run affair as well. Mythago staying tight, but Frizee just able to get the grabs in the end.
Heads up, Mythago, smiling. Let's go.
Everything's going well on this beautiful Sunday morning here in Glastonbury.
Both these teams are long-standing Glastonbury regulars. Frizee Rascals, therefore, I think it's safe to say last night was not their first rodeo.
And it stood to them. I mean, they were bucked about a bit, but in the end, they stood strong. And it was a very impressive time as well. It was like 74 seconds. Like, I gave that bull a go, and I lasted about 21 seconds. Now, I'm not known for lasting long, but, you know. That's just a shout-out to my ex. Little mix. As here come Mythago. Go, go, Gadget. University players, I guess. Natalie, exhibition MVP. Getting it just the short under. Another short under available. We probably want to see some shots on cork, and that's exactly why she got that MVP. Oh, that was a great D by Jake. I thought it was going to drift past him, but he read it really, really well. You can see how they're kind of baiting it. They're waiting for that show. As Mullet puts some party in the front. Oh, that was all business at the back by Yo. Mythago, I think, forcing things a little bit too much, and they're just not quite sharp enough at this time in the morning. But we got plenty of game for them to work their way back in. The games are longer today. Jake fakes it between the legs. And that is some fantastic defense, just putting enough pressure on to dissuade the cutter and then let it go out of bounds. Yo, thinks about sending it deep. Goes deep on the second time. Really great shot. That's a break all the way to the end zone. Beautifully read. Well kept in. 3-2.
It's an interesting footwork there from Yo, because his foot did actually end up where it started. So does that count as a travel?
Technically, no, because what counts as a travel is if you moved your foot in order to escape the force. So you can actually drag it a little bit on the throw and stuff. Well, as long as you're like, if you're completely unmarked, you kind of can't really travel unless you're just running with the disc.
He was inching away from his force with his foot.
So at that point you can call, and maybe you should call travel even before the throw goes up. So you're like, look, you're
but then when the throw actually went
away from me,
he had placed his foot firmly back on the line.
It's one of those things. So many people travel, and it's so rarely called until it gets really high up and intense in games. And I think if you're going to call travel, you have to call it consistently. You can't wait until there's the last 3-4 points of the game. You're like, all right, well, now I'm going to call travels on your main handler because they've been traveling all game. Call them from the start of the game. They can never say bad spirit, because most main handlers do travel a potload.
Travel is a call that it's very difficult to make on oneself, because you don't necessarily know exactly where your foot is.
You're never going to make a travel call on yourself, though.
Well, I would be interested to see some footage of my left foot as I was throwing and see how much it moves or not.
My Left Foot, a fantastic Daniel Day-Lewis movie as well. A Limerick man. There's Ryan with the disc, middle of the pitch, one of the star receivers. Thankfully they get it out of his hands. This is good defensive pressure by Mythago. They've managed to slow down Frizee. Frizee are kind of scoring at will at one point. And there's some fantastic handler movement by 60. We're getting a bit too cocky. Lovely step through block, and Mythago a chance to tie this up. Starting to find their feet a bit, maybe, Ed.
Yeah, number 60 there, Dan Finch. He was looking pretty assured, I thought there. I thought he was looking fairly patient, but then he just tried to whip that last pass in, and no go.
Big time block on the star of the Mythago team. But I think they've recognized that. They know they need to help shut down Natalie as much as they can. They switch their coverage downfield to just be focused on covering deep cuts. And there's the drop, getting it back. So we'll see what Mythago decide to go with now. And again, they're looking for a deep shot to Leopold. But the throw doesn't quite come. Unfortunately, that one goes just over the head of the intended cutter. And now there's an opportunity for Frizee to put it to the end zone. That is a nice throw. That's a prettier catch. So Frizee have those kinds of things, just a little bit better at getting them off. Both teams can take these shots to the end zone. We saw Yo get one, we saw Natalie get one, both of those from Mythago. And then when we look at Frizee, we've seen several of their players just put those shots up to the end zone, but they bring them down with more regularity. They're just better at actually escaping the force and putting up something that's contestable into the deep space. And I think that'll probably wind up being the difference in this game. It's some wonderful music this morning to spice us up and get us in the right mood for another day of action. Personal favorite was listening to a remix of Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye. And something else that's going to help spice us up and pick us up to go out the rest of the day is the one and only big banter boomerang. Benji Rees has joined me in the booth just in time to see Mythago power down the field. How you feeling, Benji?
You know what? I'm feeling very much renewed. About halfway through the night, I was like, I'll go to the bathroom, and then I woke up again, and then I got back and I was like, oh, I just could not get back to sleep. So I picked up my sleeping bag and made a beeline for the car, and actually was able to get a good couple of hours of sleep. So now I am renewed and ready to go, although I am slightly annoyed that I missed the start of what seems to be a very engaging contest.
It has been quite an engaging contest, in fairness to the teams playing through this situation. And I got to tell you how unnerving it was to wake up in the morning after falling asleep in the same tent as you, to see you nowhere there, and then to be asked, hey, where's Benji for the next hour? And my only response being,
He's not there.
no idea. But it all worked out for the best, as now we see Mythago trying to get something off, but Frizee, when they want to clamp down, they really can, and that's a big difference between these two teams. They're on the shoulder of every pass, every player. Now would be a time for just a shot to the end zone. Try and contest it, maybe. No, they're going more conservative. They got more faith in themselves in that, and they should. This is good work. Short unders, grinding it out.
And they really trust themselves when they don't see something they like downfield. They turn and they make a pointed movement to really isolate that reset pass and keep the disc moving, keep the stall count from getting too high. And that time, finally thought they had a shot they liked to the end zone, but it was well defended by the Frizee Rascals.
And then Frizee just launch it deep in response. They've been doing that a lot better. And that's kind of the difference between the teams so far. Frizee just gained so much yardage on those shots, and they're not afraid to screw a few of them up. Mythago trying to be more conservative, but not having the same hit rate. That was a sketchy scuba, but it worked out.
Yeah, I think sketchy is the right word for it. You can see that it didn't come out quite how I intended, but it's thinking about, okay, where do I want the disc to go? What sort of trajectory do I want to take? Rather than trying to squeeze it down the line, and you've got to get that throw out so early or that window closes, thinking, I can take that defender out completely by using that scuba to get it over his head, so by the time he kind of looks up and knows where it is, it's already too late and he doesn't even have a bit at it at all.
I feel like you're ascribing far too much thought to that guy's process right there, but I can see the logic in it.
Yeah,
I feel like he caught it and went scuba really loudly in his brain, and then he threw that scuba. But it is Glastonbury morning, you're on the show pitch, you're going to be naturally inclined to throw some of those scubas, right?
And we saw this a little bit with Frizee Rascals yesterday as well, where they were not afraid to play to the stream a little bit.
Which is fantastic. But speaking of playing to the stream, we haven't seen any Infinity Stones used yet.
And obviously, we know that Mythago have them because
Mythago have 4 of them, Frizee have 1.
Frizee have 1 as well.
Yeah.
Aha.
Now this is better by Mythago. Getting some catches under a lot of pressure. Really great work by Halves in the middle of the pitch. Alps, that makes more sense. And beautiful, he stepped up and he orchestrated that from start to finish.
Well, he does like he doesn't look like he does things by halves, does he?
That's not his measure. He goes for full or nothing. And up to this point it's largely been nothing, but now apparently he's going full.
Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to get your eye in, I guess. Really find your range.
Sometimes it does. So, Mythago, see this? They have those moments and you think, oh yeah, they can definitely get into this. But then Frizzees are able to just turn them 3 times on the 1 point and take shots to the end zone, and then the 3rd shot they take works and they go back up again.
Yeah, the key for Mythago is going to be not just putting in the O points, but find a way to get those breaks defensively. Not just getting the disc back, but when you have the disc back, can you really have that clinicity that you need to polish off the opportunities that you get, even if they're not necessarily creating many of them?
Well, see, right now I feel like no. But they could tighten up more. If they keep playing the way they have been playing, they just won't punch in those opportunities at a high enough rate in order to get the win in this game. But if they tighten up a bit more and they're able to show what they showed on that last offensive point more consistently with disc in hand, they're definitely going to get the turns.
And we saw this, you know, this is not just exclusive to Ultimate. I'm thinking about the US Open Tennis yesterday, where...
Oh, are you? I imagine a lot of people in England are.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of affiliation, it's the first time ever a qualifier has won a Grand Slam. It's unbelievable. But she created a lot of opportunities, and she didn't necessarily take them all, like quite a low conversion ratio. But she can create so many of them that it didn't quite matter so much. That's a speculative hammer that was easily picked up by Oldfield.
Halves launches it downfield. And really well done, Mythago. Now, I think Halfs is going to come on here, and he seems to be really changing the game for them, because that's the kind of deep shot they were struggling to get off earlier in the match. We saw Oldfield get hand blocked on one of them. We saw another one that Oldfield put up that was beautiful, but Jake made a really athletic play for the Frizee Rascals to knock it down. But that one was well timed and well placed. Really impressive. So now we've got, I think, 5-4. Yep, 5-4. Mythago 1 point behind.
And 2 Mythagon receivers there were waiting for it. And actually, maybe he could have been better off if just leaving it for his teammate, who wasn't quite as difficult to catch.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't have been as cool a catch.
Exactly, but he backed himself to make it. And, you know, you'd much rather say, I've got the discus there for me to do, for me to catch, so I'm going to make it, rather than leaving it to a teammate who perhaps isn't ready for it.
Yes, yes, that's a very good point, because we saw that happen a decent amount yesterday when people weren't ready for the disc, mostly because the defender had come across and they're expecting the defender to get touched. Still follows through to them, and that surprise can really ruin you.
And it's even more frustrating if it's someone on your own team, because you feel like it's a problem entirely of your own making.
So Frizzee's trying to get a solution of their own making. It'll probably take the form of a deep shot. There it is. That's not coming back inbounds.
That is very much not coming back inbounds.
Defender doing a smart job not touching it, so he's going to get that way upfield. And Mythago might want to start thinking about using an Infinity Stone or two if they tie this game up at 5-5 and maybe press their advantage.
Not necessarily a bad idea. Because there is the if they've got all of them, you can cut the points in half, so that's not quite in play. But then the question is, what Infinity Stone would you use? Confident catch by Yo. Sorry, Benji. No, it's absolutely fine. What Infinity Stone would you use to try and turn the tide? Well, this is going to float. Oh,
that was OB, and they haven't called it. Half's getting away with that one. He was very OB.
Yes.
Is Yo. I'm sure it won't be controversial if this is the equalizing point.
Hey, the thing is, no one was like, is he? Is he not? So
tries to laser that one a bit too much. That was an interesting point. Normally someone goes there, and there's about 4 Frizzy players there who all have the same vantage we do.
And after getting the disc, Frizee Rascals turn it over immediately. So Mythagon, they are generating the turns.
Yeah, seems like a bit of a momentum swing here.
You know what? This is it does feel a bit like that.
Oh!
There we go. There we go.
Maron. I can't get over the fact you said Maron.
Maron.
Maron there. The Gabagoo. Excellent, excellent layout grab. Mythago showing why they are touching on legendary status every time they enter the pitch. 5-2 down, 5-5 now. And I do think like Halfs has played a part coming on helping secure that handling core, but also the fact they never let their heads drop. They kept pushing and they kept running and working the system. It's starting to pay off for them now. Well, Frizee Rascals look a bit unraveled.
Yeah, it's a sneaky difficult catch there as well, because it's quite low to the ground. It's like, can I get the lay, am I going to be able to lay out flat for it? And in the end, it's kind of a layout come knee slide.
I think those things are so sketchy.
It's trickier than it's a lot trickier than you think.
Slightly too close to layout, slightly too far away to just lean over and catch it. Now you got to do that lean forward, fall onto your ass, hip, slide catch, and that one's a rough one. Mythago have a plan.
Uh-oh, that's dangerous. A plan at Glastonbury.
That's, well, the best laid plans of mice and men off gang of Glay. Which, was Robbie Burns a homophobe?
I mean, unfortunately.
I really doubt he was.
I have genuinely...
No, I very much doubt he was. I'm not going to, have the People's Bard's name tarnished on a Sunday morning stream.
Is he the people? Is that what they call him? The People's Bard?
It's one of his many. It's not. It's the Plowers Bard.
Oh, interesting. That's good.
I
like that. I like that.
He's a great poet. I mean, if you can decipher the feckin' Old English. But no, he's got some great ones. Tam O'Shanter is fantastic. Anybody should read that. Great story of an alcoholic.
Yeah, you know what? Great shout.
As we have got another one. You can see how much Mythago want this now. They are coming closer and closer on these bids than we have seen all game. Ryan with a bit of composure and what looks like just running shoes on.
Yeah, especially with the
no-look scooper and the layout collection from Jake. This is beautiful stuff. This is what we want on the show pitch.
I think he definitely got away with that one there.
Sketchy. Throw something sketchy. And there's another hammer to Ryan. Oh, he should have caught that one. I mean, he shouldn't have. It was sketchy, sketchy, sketchy. But the trifecta of sketchiness should work out.
It's picking a target that you like, and it was one of those ones where it's really difficult because it's coming down at quite a sharp angle.
And the defender's on your back, so you can't step back to try and get a better read on it.
It's quite difficult to go with two hands for a timeout called.
Which, you know, I mean, if you were going to initiate some kind of secret stone-related plan, probably do it during the timeout when the game is tied. And you've just got possession back.
Not necessarily a bad idea. You're right, he is wearing running shoes, by the way, and this is the classic, I think, at you know, any sort of tournament, is that you wake up on the morning and the ground is slick with dew. And that means that, yeah, the ground is slick with dew, and it means that actually, you know, if you don't have proper footwear, you do slip and slide around, and it can make things a little bit more difficult. You never know when you perhaps might lose your footing at just the most inopportune time.
It is horrible, because you have to put so much focus into slowing down and changing direction in that situation. You can either go for the slide and then try and play out of it, or you got to do that lots of little small steps so you don't fall over, which is just not how Ryan normally likes to play. He's a real galloping kind of player. You know, long, sweeping strides, big, stamping down fakes, and then throwing the shoulder. You get turned one way, and he's buggered off the other. We saw a lot of it yesterday. We saw it on the show pitch with him going up some deep shots, and it kind of explained why he hasn't been as effective downfield when he doesn't have that full range of movement.
Yeah, and it's the sharp changes of direction that you probably really struggle with. You go to plant that foot and it slides away a little bit. You don't
it's
have
going to affect your jump too, actually, in that
situation. Yeah, absolutely it would. Absolutely it would. So maybe you're not getting those cuts. They're not coming as angular. You're bananaing them a little bit, and that's allowing the defender to keep up with them a bit more.
Wouldn't mind a banana in the morning. But first of all, we're going to have some action. Both heavy and potassium. As Leopold, they look to just be running a set play for the deep shot, or was it all a misdirection? They pulled two defenders poaching deep and now have a lot of space on the under. I loved that play, even though it didn't quite go to plan.
Just slipped through the fingers, and they're going to try and strike while the iron is hot.
That worked so many times in the first half, and it is not earlier in the game, I should say, but it is not working now because Mythago switched on, and they are wise to the straightaway turnover shot to the end zone. Also, 22 wasn't playing for the first few points.
Aha.
Yes.
And here is the magnificent Ben Lippold. Star and quite frankly, heartthrob of the tournament. Sock wrestling superhero.
Most important person here, I tell you, 10 is having himself quite the game. He's had some good shots to the end zone, and he's starting to show a bit more hunger than other players on his team.
He's got that long range, and he's using it to really put pressure on his receiver.
Let's see what he can do. He wants that inside break. You can see he's calling for it, and he gets it. Looking for options, and that's a nice conservative play. Back into the middle. And these two handlers, consummate professionals, they made that look easy. Nice little three-person work.
What you're seeing there is the advantage of having the disc right on the non-force sideline, because you're looking downfield. If you've got that tight vertical stack in the end zone, which is what a lot of teams favour when you get down into that area of the pitch, is, you know, you've got that channel between where you are with as a thrower with the disc and where the stack is,
right.
And you've got this huge space to aim at.
Yeah.
And it's quote unquote a break, but actually it can be a relatively flat throw out into that space
because you've got the freedom through your movement,
and it's already, and you know, because you've pushed that stack over a little bit, you've got the space for the break for the players to be on the break side already, and you don't have to really kind of squeeze those throws in a little bit.
It's all about how much easier can you make your throw by using your feet. And that was a good example of it. Also, worth noting, that was the first point they'd scored in 4. They were 5-2 up, brought back to 5-5 by Mythago. Now they go 6-5 up. That's a good recovery. And using fundamentals. Timmy D.
Can't spell fundamentals without fun.
Or mental.
Oh, yeah, that is true, actually.
So now Mythago. They've got it with Holf. That's a nice break. That's a half the length of the pitch. Smooth and never went higher than shoulder height.
It's a scorcher, that one.
And a great return. Looking for a shot to the end zone. He's got a free man. And they pull it off. 6-6. We've got a bit of a battle here.
Yeah, both teams, I think, have switched it on a little bit now. You love to see it. I mean, I know we said this a lot this weekend, but...
Some of us.
but it's quite a high quite a high-intensity game, which is, you know, sometimes, especially at a party tournament, especially for teams that have put a good shift in the evening before. Sometimes you don't have the intensity in those games on the Sunday morning. But I must say that actually both teams have really stepped up to the plate today. And it's very encouraging to watch teams making the most of making the party, and B, kind of tight, intense competition. It's exactly what you want to see. We're at 6-all. Yesterday, this would have been Galaxy Point with half at 7 and game to 13. But on the Sunday, you've got a little bit more. You've got a little bit more time in the game, so it's games to 15 and halves at 8. Mythago looking to break to take the lead. Now getting ready to pull. 6-all as the pull comes sweeping down and lands just out the back of the end.
How many times have we seen that over this weekend, Benji?
Teams just trying to adjust to the slightly smaller field site. Tell you what, it's probably a bit of an ego boost, really, isn't it? Like,
it would make me feel good.
Yeah, on Sunday morning, like, you're a little bit worse for wear. Still put it out the back of the end zone. You'll be like, I've still got it. I've still got it.
That's what all that work was about.
I was going to say, it's good to see that teams representing with an intense game here on the Sunday morning.
Yes.
Despite the fact that they hit it hard on the Saturday night.
Both of these teams did, as well as it's 6-all, game to 15. And Frizee Rascals. What happened to Ryan's boots? He must have torn them or something, as Jake on the opposite sideline lashes one into the end zone. That is a smooth swing and score.
Utilising the full width of the pitch, they making the defenders have to cover as much ground as possible, and they got it trapped on the Force sideline. And I think if you're being critical, you could probably say that Force can probably come more around, because especially with a lefty, that flick into the centre of the pitch was, you could have put that perhaps under a little bit more pressure. And sometimes, you know, you do get that sneaky lefty advantage. It just takes a little bit of time.
It's like any sport, really, where you go up against people. It's another big thing in boxing, you know, with the southpaw stance.
Dealing with the southpaw.
Because there's so few interactions, so few chances you're going to come up against them, whereas they spent most of their career fighting right-handed people. It's the same in this kind of situation. Even left-handed people spend most of their time marking right-handed people. It's just a more commonly established inherent muscle memory thing to do.
Yeah, as a cricketer coming up against a left-handed batsman, you've got to kind of change your
that'd be hellish.
Change your fielding, kind of slightly change your line and length. Difficult thing to adjust to sometimes, as that one is comfortably out of bounds, so that's going to be a brick.
So would you think it's worth starting to throw a few rolling pulls so these bricks stop happening so much? Or is it better to just let the brick happen and not give up even more?
Interesting, because I think teams generally can be a little bit more creative with what they do on the pulls, because generally it's just pick it up, bang it as far as possible and work from there. So yeah, especially if you've got a sideline trap that you want to set up, maybe that rolling pull is not such a bad idea on a slick outfield where, you know, perhaps they just will spin, it will roll as that one goes over the head and off the fingertips, and a chance to break for half here for Frizee Rascals.
And Frizee Rascals continuing to work, looking for options.
With a beautiful inside break. Slices its way across the field, and Frizee Rascals will take half up 8-6.
Confident return to form from Frizee Rascals. They let 3 in, and then they go 3 and no. Yep. Then they go 3 and 1 from that point on to take control of the game again and put Mythago under some pressure. A lot more players for Mythago at halftime than there were at the start of the game.
Yeah, I think slightly understandable. Some players, they didn't get the time stone, which is the one that would push your start back an hour.
That was the one I think they were really hurt by. That was the Bull one, maybe?
Yeah, I think that was the backing Bronco. They were in the lead apparently until very late on, and then they just kind of had it squeezed, because you had to go at it, and it was hard.
I was talking about it earlier on the stream. I did very poorly.
Like, to be fair, I think by that point, she was probably a bit, like, I think she was turning up a little bit. Yeah.
I wanted to go home and sick of hanging out with these weird college kids.
Absolutely. And it was like, you know what, I'll just...
It's a very understandable position to take.
But yeah, I mean, at least you had a go, which is more than I did.
I tell you, the set, I was like on it, and then at one point, I could feel my center of balance just move slightly. I was like, oh, well, I'm done.
It feels like it's so, like, I have no sense of balance at all. So I think I would have thoroughly struggled.
I don't know if I was meant, because I sat up straight in it, and I don't know if that's the best thing to do. I was trying to keep like my center of balance aligned with the center of the bull, but you don't know where that's going to be most of the time. Maybe if I'd like lean down.
Yeah, but maybe are you allowed to like do like a full like a?
I don't know. I was wondering, would I be allowed to like put my legs around the head of the thing? Because it seemed like that would have been way easier.
I'm thinking about like like when you see a cyclist on the time trial, and they're like they lean all the way forward, and they've got the special handlebars.
They do the Superman.
Yes.
I love that that's an actual technique.
Just like, and they got the fancy aerodynamic helmets as well.
You can't tell me that stuff is serious.
So, here's the thing, though. It seems to work.
That's actually a good point, yep.
I mean, so they obviously know something that I do not.
That both of us do not. Especially considering how a successful GB have been in cycling recently.
Yeah. Dominic had very good years on the track, and maybe the Olympics not so much, but especially at the Paralympics. Sarah Story winning a 17th Paralympic gold medal is just ridiculous. God, we've been treated to so much sport over this summer, and it was like watching the Olympics and the Paralympics. It was like, wow, I think a lot of people really needed that, and the fact that sport is coming back a little bit more, like the fact that we're able to do this now, and there was a huge party. The bar was filled watching the US Open, like,
and then the bar was emptied and celebrating the US Open.
I mean, literally, I think we pretty much drunk.
We did. We drank the place dry. They were stuck just giving out Carlsberg to anybody who wanted a lager.
It's like when the only beer you've got on tap is Carling. It's like, wow, we've really got through a lot.
Wasn't even Carlsberg. Yeah, you're right. It was Carling.
Which is a beer.
It's not great. Well, we were still in the southwest, so you could get as much Thatcher's Haze as you wanted. And I wanted a decent whack of it because they wouldn't give me Guinness in a glass.
You've got standards.
I mean, I don't have a lot of them, but the ones I have, I keep to.
Hey, you know what? You've got to. Sometimes you have to take a stand.
Oldham looking for options. Gets an undercut. Such great form on these throws.
Oh, that one's just a bit low though. So maybe
I get collected.
I was going to say commentator's curse, not that it's a thing.
I was speaking specifically about
Oldfield.
Oldfield, that was it. Sorry. MVP of the exhibition game.
Was indeed.
The Frizee Rascals seem to be addicted to standing directly in our way.
The thing is, it's tricky because they've got to stand somewhere.
Right, but why not on the other side of the pitch?
I mean, that is a very good point that I do not have an answer for.
Especially because I've requested multiple times for them to move. But what can you do? There's a big shot going all the way downfield. That's Big Liam, the big stinking ginger, putting enough pressure on to get the D.
Can you call people big stinking gingers?
Well, that's what they told me his name was. Do you think that's not his name, Big Stinkin' Ginger?
You know what? I think it probably is.
That was a nice D. Lots of pressure from Mythago.
Takes a little bit of time to get back to his feet, but he does it eventually.
We know Yo has got some nice break backhands that he's uncorked a few of in the first half. So let's see if he can get something going now, as Mythago are kind of struggling to get that connection back up and running. Looking for options. Oh, all shut down. Front of the end zone.
Lovely throw there, just to the outside shoulder to give the defender as little sniff of it as possible.
Because you know Jake's going to lay out if you give him any kind of a whiff. Just like that, fantastic defense.
Again, just maybe slowed up ever so slightly coming into the disc. And when you've got a defender who kind of has that, is a bit longer, a bit leaner as the disc goes up, this is spicy.
And the mullet takes it down. See, now that to me looked a bit more like party at the front, business at the back.
Hey mate, I never cross a man with a mullet. Like anyone who is confident enough to rock a mullet and attach.
They probably own a gun.
I was going to say I don't know what they would own, but I'm not sure I would want to get on their bad side.
It's fair. It takes a lot of confidence to walk around looking that stupid. So you got to have something backing it up.
I heard the mullet's coming back.
I've been hearing that for years. I think it comes back every now and again for one person, and then it goes away. The mullet will always look stupid. Even when the mullet was at like the height of its popularity, people still thought it was stupid.
Bit of Huddle and Waddle, Diamond Lights.
I was thinking more like Joe Dirt.
Who?
David Spade's best movie.
Oh, right, okay. Or Pat Sharp, Funhouse. You know, but you said it, you know, business at the front, party at the back.
It's halves. It's 9-6. And Frizee just pulling away. But remember, Mythago did say they have a plan. Oh, that's trailing off in the wrong direction. It was a great play setup, but the throw was just ever so slightly inching away.
And if it just has a little bit of inside edge on it, then it's got to. It maybe has that opportunity to get that spectacular layout grab on the sideline,
which is what we all want, provided we be able to see footage of it. As Frizee Rascals really working through their sets. They're not looking to turn it over on the first throw, which is something that they've done a lot of when trying to set up these shots. Nicely collected by Mullet and smoothly played down the line.
Wonderful, just open side flow there. Timing of the cuts was brilliant because they're looking downfield and that cut is already opening up so they can just put it out into space. I think something that the Frizee Rascals have done well is when their maybe less confident throwers have got the disc, they're still able to get the resets off, to get the disc in the hands of players who perhaps have a slightly larger bag of tricks. And they can use them to power the offense, and it just means sometimes, you know, you get really good cutters with whose disc skills perhaps aren't as good as some of your other players, and it can be difficult for them to consistently recycle the disc, reset it, get into lower stall counts. But Frizee Rascals have done that very well, I think.
It's a commendment to them because it's exactly what you're saying. If you can get the disc out of the hands of the people who aren't as skilled with it, you can go a long way, because so frequently teams will specifically target players they start to realize aren't the strongest throwers to try and pressure them into a turnover. It's like, okay, you're going to beat us to the spot, you're really athletic. But you don't have a flick, so I'm just going to stand on your backhand side, try and mess with you. And something Frizee have done really well, both their handlers in making it as an easy throw as possible, but also the less talented cutters know the classic step away from the mark. Wherever the mark is, just step in the opposite direction from it and try and go for an easy pop. And there comes the arcing shot over. It works out. Lepole collects it. You can see 4 different Frizee Rascals were expecting that shot and were trying to get in the way. Nice, comfortable score, well played and well designed.
And what else would you expect from someone like Ben Lippold? He's just
there's a reason
the epitome of consistency.
Exactly, and not just the epitome of consistency, but the maxim of sexiness.
Oh, I mean, we bore witness to the sock wrestling yesterday, and an absolute animal.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that many people swim on dry land.
Man possessed. Like, honestly, it was...
Wanted it sometimes a bit too much. But
can you?
Exactly. Is it possible to want something too much, or are you just wanting it more than everyone else and they're kind of salty about it?
And with sock, especially with something like sock wrestling...
Which is all about desire. Very little technique, almost exclusively desire.
There was no biting, there was no gouging, and there was no low blows, so it's all legit as far as I'm concerned.
There was an awful lot of ass grabbing.
There was an awful lot of ass grabbing.
Seemed to be a good place to get purchase.
But that is sock wrestling for you.
I mean, what isn't? So, Frizee, now they're just starting to feel themselves. They're going with this nice, easy, delicate pop passing. Although Mythago have been able to clamp down and tighten it up. That's Big Liam. Down the line to the polka dot joker. I think that's Finch who's going to try and go for something spectacular. Doesn't quite work out.
I think he saw his name in lights, and hey, it had to require the layout for it to be rescued, but turned back on the first pass. Oldfield was free, but perhaps they just rushed it ever so slightly, and a hammer over the top. Well brought down.
Really impressive stuff by Ryan. That's not an easy catch to make when you've got boots on, and he went up high and takes it from like just behind him on the hammer grab. You can see why they feel comfortable putting those kinds of things up to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown, you know, sometimes it is a question of, is this the most, perhaps the highest percentage play? Perhaps not, but the receivers demonstrated enough faith over the course of the game and the tournament that, you know what, it's
a high percentage play to you.
And we'll repay the faith. We'll put the faith in you, and you shall repay it, hopefully.
I think it's one of those things, if you have like a really athletic player who's made a bunch of good Ds or has been like really putting pressure and working their butt off, sometimes you go, you know what, I'm just going to give them a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
Because the way they're playing, the way they're feeling about themselves, I back them to have it.
In the same way, if you've got an expansive thrower, sometimes sometimes shoot's got to shoot. Like, you've just got to let them make those big throws and trust that they have the accuracy and the confidence to pull them off, as that one is out of bounds once more. And again, Lippold. What a brick this is. Brilliant.
Just look at the way he walks to the brick mark. It's so assured. It's so relaxing at the same time. So you're watching that and just the confidence it exudes. If you're a teammate or an opponent right now, you got to be feeling good seeing that. And there's a big deep shot available to Yo.
Even the ground check he didn't need to do, I didn't hate so much because he was doing it.
Because, I mean, he is the one doing it. And he is the one, really.
Oh, just a tiny bit behind, and it squirted through the gloved hands of Cooper.
Not an easy one to bring in, as we see Ryan wind it up and then cork it. Big Liam just plays that out to the far sideline. And then makes a nice little Jimmy and Juke to get it back. He's looking at the end zone. He wants to shoot it. But he's a bit too conservative. Jake goes with another conservative shot, and that's what he gets. I like that defensive play. Realized he didn't want to pick up the disc in his own end zone line. Knock it down.
I know I've challenged people enough times over the years to catch their Ds. And that time, you know what? The fact that he didn't, you see why, because he was positioned in such a way that there was no way a defender was, a receiver even, was going to rescue it.
So these some good, hard-working unders by Mythago. And I like how early he looked to the dump. And then they swing it out. Yo with the disc. And he wants somebody to go deep. He's got faith in his own puts. Down the line. Ever so slightly outside of the range of Oldfield.
Yeah, nice little shake and bake in the handler space.
She cooked him.
Yeah, get the defender committing into the backfield, and whatever way they commit, you just take the opposite. Got the upline space, but the throw was just slightly too far out in front.
So Big Liam floats one into the end zone. And what would you call that? A massive humanity?
Evidently.
But coming down with it. Yep, that is no, or I keep going to say no frills because a bunch of these Frizee Rascals are wearing the old no frills Cardiff University jerseys.
They're Frizee Rascals.
Oh.
I mean, I don't love it, to be honest.
No, it's not the best. It's no drainage.
It's not a great woosion, to be honest.
No.
Sorry, do I have to do the Steph Rapazzo voice for that one? It's not a great woosion. The Steph Rapazzo
Your
voice.
Steph Rapazzo voice isn't as good as you think it is.
Oh, I don't think it's great.
Oh, well, in that case, you're probably accurate.
Yeah.
Better
Shot for a goal.
Shot for a goal. He's putting that one up.
Great bid by Canada.
Canada. I love the Toronto. Okay, enough ragging on Steph Rapazzo.
Oh, I love
nothing
Steph.
but love for him. And the Toronto Raptors. As here come Mythago. Halfs. We watched them win a championship
That
together.
was a memorable evening at Windmill, yeah.
Nicely down the line and well towed. Great pop. Pulse is one of those old school handlers, likes to throw and immediately run and get it again. What a catch! That was well contested, but even better fought for.
It's very indoorsy style throw, really, isn't it? Like, they're making it to the fact that the sun is shining. I told there was a high chance of rain. At the moment,
nothing's dampening our spirits.
Yeah, it looks all right to me, except for the dew on the ground. Everything seems A-OK.
I'm sure he'll be okay. He'll wake up in a second.
There's not really a breath of wind either.
Nope.
So actually, you can use those indoor-style overheads a lot more freely than perhaps you otherwise could if the conditions did not allow for it.
12-8, though, in a game to 15, where we may have forgotten to tell them to take half. 9:17, so we're only about 45 minutes in. If I'm correct, the time cap goes on the hour?
I believe the time cap's on the hour, and so rather than yesterday where we were 50-minute games in 60-minute slots, which is quite a tight turnaround.
It was a very tight turnaround, which all credit to the TDs at Glastonbury because they got it done.
Yeah, like this is the thing. Like they want to give as many teams as much game time as many games as possible, and that means you shrink the games in. I mean, 32 teams is a decent-sized tournament.
You wouldn't know there's 32 teams here as you look out, but there's a whole other set of pitches behind this set, and there's just so much ultimate going on in such a small space. It's fantastic. As here come Frizee Rascals. That's exactly what Mythago needed.
And maybe Frizee Rascals have just left that door ajar now, and Mythago will try and burst through it.
Oh, they read that. Big Liam knew exactly what Huffs wanted, and I think that's another example of I'm going to let Oldfield get an extra step to make the break look like it's on, and then with my go-go gadget extendo arms, I'm going to slam that door. It might be ajar, but now it's smashed.
And it wasn't a bad cut, but there was just the opportunity for Frizee Rascals to take that inside line and get in the way.
Very smart. Well, they've got some intelligence dappled through their ranks. That is a nice throw from the mullet, but not quite enough, and I love that defense by Half.
Yeah, he doesn't have to stay in bounds, and you know what? actually there's a couple of receivers there, and the last thing I want is to leave it because I think it's going out of bounds, and then find that it is going to curl its way back in, but a drop from Mythago.
Thinking about the throw before he'd secured the catch, I reckon. You can tell the disappointment on Yo's face, and he's been having quite a good game, real consistent handler for them, so that one's going to hurt.
Yeah, this is the point where maybe you wonder is...
Maybe it's not going to hurt that much if Mullet's going to keep giving the disc away like this, so, you know.
I mean, Mythagon were full into the extracurricular activities last night, into the drinking, into the mechanical ball, the sock wrestling, the target practice. I think they put a 3-point challenge time in as well, so, you know, they came to represent.
I was talking to some of the old school people who, like, used to rock 3-point challenges, because you don't see so much of it anymore, and they were very underwhelmed with the times put up last night. I don't know if that's a gauntlet to the younger generation or just a statement on their priorities. That's a fantastic arcing shot from Halves all the way around and sets up the smooth put-in for the finish.
Lovely offense in the end.
Lovely offense.
Caught it in stride, and by the time he's caught it, turned for the pivot, he's already got 3 options running through. It's pick your poison, simple pass into the end zone for the goal. So Mac and Felix ended up doing a 3-point challenge because they were disappointed with the time. And the problem was, because you can't get regulation-sized McDonald's straws
I've heard
anymore.
so much about this regulation-sized McDonald's straws. So you guys use straws in your 3-point challenge?
Yeah.
Never thought that was a thing.
What?
Yeah. Remember when we did it in Windmill? Did we get a straw? No.
I can't remember.
There's a photo of the 3 of us, me, you, and Sean, all lying on our bellies, slurping that up. I thought that was what you had to do. I thought that was part of the challenge.
No.
3 people trying to slurp out of a Frisbee without a straw.
No, traditionally it was you got 1 McDonald's straw each.
The UK is weird, man.
And then, yeah, they became papery, and so they're not as good
Which was
anymore.
pointless. It's just marketing.
They're not as good anymore. And yeah, they were very thin straws. You got 1 thin straw each, and it really does put a limit on the amount you can suck up.
Well, in that case, pardon me. Oh, I may have to
You're
pop
right.
off the mic for a second and eat some Gaviscon.
Sort yourself out if you need to.
Oh, that's a rough one.
It's yeah. Sometimes you just get something stirring up inside of you, and sometimes it's a good thing. And there are other times when it is very much not, and you just need to take that time to set and steady yourself.
Just become such an old man. I wake up every morning needing Gaviscon, whether or not I drank.
Other heartburn medications are available. Oh, visionary!
Vision is scary. Start a revolution, polluting the airwaves, a rebel.
So I think there was a foul call on the original Mac. They was retracted because it ended up in their hands, and then the hammer just kind of slipped through the fingers.
I give a lot of credit to Yo. Like, the hammer wasn't perfectly on target, but Yo has given up about almost half a foot, maybe even more, to Ryan, and he is making him work for everything anyway.
Here's the magnificent lip hold.
The best and sexiest player. That's a phenomenal shot. Where's that been all game? Oh, Mullet basically trying to barge into somebody's tent. Gets a round of applause. That's hunger. That's desire right there.
That is painful, I imagine. Also, I think it's a good job that he's done that now and not the first point of the game when there's a very decent chance of someone being asleep in that tent.
I mean, in fairness, someone could be asleep in that tent right now anyway.
To be fair, I think it would be very funny if you just like woke up and then like to a player just sliding into your tent with a disc like,
hello.
Hello, ciao, Bella.
Ciao, Bella. Yo comes across and gets that interception. Really nice. That was not an easy catch. And who else?
It's easy for Ben Lippold.
He's playing on a different set of rules physically.
He's just on an entire different plane.
It's insane. It's basically like you're trying to play against 8 players and all of them are better than you, as well as trying to play against the actual team. It's almost impossible.
Just a magnificent specimen of a human being. The embodiment, the platonic ideal of what a Frisbee player should be.
There's nothing platonic about the ideals I have for him.
Oh, hello. There we go. There we go.
Should we don't mean to objectify him. It's just he's so much better than us. It's hard not to imagine him as a different species. You know? But then again, that's why we're in the booth and he's out there walking on the fields of Elysium effectively, chugging ambrosia all the while.
I could go for some ambrosia right now if anyone's got some, to be fair.
I could actually go for some the pudding or the Greek drink of the gods, you know? Either one.
Yeah, the nectar just sup from my beautiful goblet.
Or scoop from my rudimentary bowl.
We're not fussy, to be honest.
No,
That land in
I love
bounds.
ambrosia, man.
Oh, not right.
I don't think it did. I think it landed on the line and then rolled and landed on the line a little bit further down the pitch.
People put it in bounds. Put it in bounds, people.
It is. I had a coach who was constantly saying it's one of the most important parts of the defense, and almost nobody can do it well.
It's like setting up effectively off the pool, both offensively and defensively, is so important. That it does annoy me that teams saying, "Oh, hello,
And Ryan's busted out the no-look scoobers. That is cheeky.
That's confidence right there.
Looking for options, and the zone did a good job of shutting down 5 of the 6 options, but then they keep working. And Ryan looking around, surveying.
Fast
He's got
hands.
pushing going into the end zone, unmarked momentarily. Hoff's picked him up.
And the no-look scuba again.
We're loving it. We're loving it.
He's feeling it.
And there's a hammer. Maybe they've just decided only overheads. Nope, that was a flat one. So kind of boo on that one, to be honest with you. Looking at options. Cheeky left-hand, backhand for the quick score. And you can kind of see that starting to put it a little bit out of reach. If they had some kind of reality-bending powers, maybe now would be the time to utilize them.
Sorry, what are you talking about, Lorcan?
I'm just talking about how incredibly impressive Leopold has been all game long.
Yeah, and how he could be even more impressive if they had some reality-bending powers.
Now, just to let everybody know, we will, of course, be advertising Leopold throughout the day, so you don't just see him here. You can see him on Instagram. You can see him on our Twitter, ulti.tv. I'm assuming that's what our Instagram is. I'm not on Instagram. But
You put a thing up at EYUC a couple of years ago. It was like, this is going to be me using Instagram properly, and it never happened.
I used it for that tournament, and I just stopped. I've literally got like 3 photos all from that tournament.
And this is the thing, when the game's getting tight late on, you need to have your best players on the pitch. But Lippard, I guess, will be providing an exemplary sideline instead.
Do you think I could maybe get his? I'm going to go try and interview him. See if it'll work. So, Leopold. Oh, that's a searing shot all the way to the end zone.
Seconds.
Ryan read it well. How do you feel so far in this game? And just in general in life? It looks like you're just winning.
Oh. Yeah, well, I think in this game, we're the better team. We've obviously got a bit of a man advantage, but we're a mixed team, playing against open, really holding our own. I love our intensity on D at the moment. I think it's phenomenal. I just love to see everyone smiles on their faces, just bidding for stuff. That's what I live for. Yeah, but yeah, I know I'm really liking our team's energy. Just got to clean it a bit up, I know, and we'll take this one easy. And I think you can see some reality-bending powers when we take them to Universe.
Oh, snap. That is confidence right there. Not that you'd expect anything different.
That is what I call signed, sealed, delivered. Living up to the expectations as Ryan collects it off this sketchy flick. The no-look pass! That shouldn't have worked, and yet it did. Jake gets the score.
I mean, you say it shouldn't have worked, but how many no-looks has he thrown over the past couple of points?
In the last 2 points, he's thrown 3, and they've all come off. I think in this game, he's thrown 5, and they've all come off.
Well, there you go. If you want to become really good at Frisbee, just care less. And you become better, and B, you become so much cooler.
You look so cool when you don't care.
Honestly, it's like nothing's better than, you make a ridiculous layout grab or you get a big hand block and you just don't even acknowledge it. You just jog away.
You man with no name it. You just...
Oh, hello.
And here is one of our first reality-bending powers as Mythago recognize they need to try and counteract the strength and depth of the team they're playing by using their own squad completely. So this is one of the powers where you get to bring everybody on your team on. And you can see Mythago are bringing a full university mixed club here going up against the veteran side of Frizee Rascals.
So this is the purple stone. This is Wakanda forever. Every player from both squads plays the next point. So yesterday this was the power stone, which was for beating
half an hour of power ballads,
yeah.
Which cleared the dance floor.
But not in a good way.
Not in a good way. To the point that Devon Masters, after they won the three-point challenge, didn't want to use their
Soul Stone
to play half an hour of Soul. Which I get that most of these people aren't going to want to listen to as much Diana Ross as I do, but,
I nearly swore there. I love Motown. How are you actually sorting out who gets who? How do you mark this?
Well, you can basically go 2-on-1. It's like a genuine legion,
Oh,
and
what a
nobody
ball.
caught the pull.
I think they were expecting it to go out of the back.
So there's Hulf, Lippold, Oldfield, Hulf, Oldfield, and Ryan stepping up to put the initial force on. Now a hand block here would be fairly disastrous. Yo to Lippold. There has to be space. They have to be able to work it. There's only so much you can cover. We've been talking about how you have to take the open throw when it's available. What do you do when there's 7 available?
Take all 7 at once. I mean, forget your hexagons. This is like dodecahedrons or some nonsense.
They are really trying to put a lot of pressure. They've got 2 of the big, tall players in Ryan and Big Liam right at the front of that zone.
I'll tell you what. Oh, there's the hooter for the end of the game.
Well, we're already at 14-10, so it's a game to 15 regardless, as they just about get away with that one. Now, this is nice little pop and play. Big Liam tried to predict it, but couldn't get there quick enough. And this is great stuff. This is something that I love about Mythago. They try to use everybody in their squad. If you're on the pitch, you're going to get it thrown to you.
Also, this is just smart. They do have a larger roster than their opponents, and there are so many free passes that they're just happy to take what they're being given.
That looked like a score.
Oh,
there's
no.
a turn right at the end. Surely they're going to go deep.
Jacket.
He's going to throw it deep. No, he's gone for the easy one. No. Somehow there's 5 unmarked. As you can see, just the wave crashing backwards of Mythago defenders.
This is absolute carnage, and I am so here for this sort of nonsense shenanigan and
Big
the layout of D.
Fantastic stuff. As Mythago get ready. And you saw they tried to do a thing where push everybody to the back line of the end zone once they got there because they couldn't tell where it was. Yo, he's got options down the line. Oh, very well holstered.
Faked him out,
That is
faked him
some
out.
veteran composure. You might not be able to tell from the kind of angle that we're at, but the forces on these zones are taking it very seriously. Liam and Ryan are just hunting right now.
And
He gets it in the end, yeah.
And he's going to do it. He's going to do it.
Tries to lash it to Jake. There's Lippold!
Oh, off the fingertips.
And that just goes to show you how good Lippold is. Game on the line makes the block, kind of.
Doesn't even need to get a hand on it. The mere presence dissuades it. Oh, this has descended a little bit.
And it
well
worked
read.
somehow!
Visionary, visionary.
He can see the future. There's Pinky. Oh, and once again, Big Liam just crushing dreams. You think they'd be able to smell him coming? As Ryan absolutely fakes Yo out of his boots.
As a big stinking ginger. As he
Allegedly.
As he was affectionately termed by his teammates. I was allegedly.
Allegedly. Finch is currently getting
That's gotta
double
be-
teamed.
that's gotta be a
No,
double-
there's another player within 3 meters.
Ah, they closely
And that's
there we go.
a
There's the
AUDL
rip.
style throw. And that's a fantastically taken catch. I thought that was going to be Liam's all day.
He made that look very clean, didn't he?
And there's a big hammer going the opposite direction. This is devolving somewhat, which we kind of expected given this rule. After they tried to work it all the way down with the
This is
pops.
the thing. They were doing that really well. They need to go back to that.
That was a lot of effort.
Yeah, it was. The thing is, people say it's less fun. I don't know. I like getting the disc every other pass and gaining a couple of yards each time. That's my sort of frisbee.
I like the defense that Mythago are working now. They've basically divided the pitch into 3/3 and have sections of their squad marking each, marshaled by different veteran leaders. And Jake is just staying in the end zone ready for the turn and the instant shot, so they're having to post one of their better defenders back there.
And then miscommunication. Here comes Mullet Man.
But Lippold is in the area. That's 2 bites at the winning cherry that Jake's had. I really thought he'd have pulled him away by now, and Lippold just launches it all the way back down. That might be the best throw we've seen all game. And of course it's collected. And there's the hammer. It's not a good hammer, but it's good enough.
There we go. That's how you use an infinity stone. I was going to say the players rush the field. They don't because they were already on it.
What a moment. 14-11. Do they have any other reality bending tricks up their sleeve?
They're trying to get back into it now. So it's game to 15 now, 14-11.
No, it's quarter past is when it's on, so.
I'll tell you what, that was That was a beautiful disaster, which I believe was the intention of the Infinity Stones. That's the only one they've played so far.
First Infinity Stone we've seen played on the pitch. So this is worth 2?
Wait, what was that one? I don't remember seeing that one.
So Captain America's stone has given them the ability to go for a double point. This is the perfect time to execute it. You're 3 points down. It doesn't matter if Frizzy score again because they're going to win regardless. So you go out there, show up, and try to show out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, tight game. Next point's worth 2. It doesn't matter if the opposition score it because they only need 1 to win anyway.
I think Ryan rarely looks where he's throwing the disc, to be honest with you.
Doesn't need to.
Yes,
it's like
they could.
It's a bit like the Paga cap, isn't it? Where it can be game to 16.
I think Frizzy have decided they want to put this game away. That last throw is a bit sketchy, or maybe baited, but you can see they're going for a bit more conservative right up to the hammer, and the hammer was very much on.
So if Bristol score this, they're only 1 point behind, and the comeback is on, Lorcan.
It very much is, and this is a strong Bristol line that they put out. I think this is the first time they haven't gone with a mixed line all game, which, bear in mind, they're a mixed college team going up against a alumni open team, and they've really put it up to them. And now they're hoping to take it all the way. It's floating. What a grab. Unbelievable stuff. That's the second time you always put up a fantastic shot like that. That's 2 points in the Bizank. So now 14-13, and things are getting a little bit frisky for the Frizzlies.
Hello, hello, hello. Here we go. Here's a question. If you had the stone for the mirror dimension, would you play it? Play some multi-disc.
And try to win it, because there'll be 2 discs. The point isn't over till both have been scored. That's the game right there. It's another chance to score twice in one go.
Or would that complicate things, because you're so worried about not conceding that one that it could be difficult to go on the other end?
I do think, given their lines, Frizzlies would be more capable of having a certain set of players go and defend one disc and then have 2 to 3 players weave it all the way down the pitch. Depending on the lineup that Mythago went with, they could do it with some of them, like Lippold, Oldfield, Yo working together has worked out quite well for them. And then the bigger fellas could go play defense. Oh, sure. That's too chaos.
Well, we'll think about that if it comes to it. There is a pick.
Pick called on that cut from Big Liam. And he's going to put on some pressure. You can see Oldfield in the backfield. We saw her do some fantastic deep coverage in the exhibition game, part of the reason she got the MVP.
That and the phenomenal throaty sideline support.
It's Yo, he's going to have to tighten up that force a little bit earlier, otherwise you're never going to stop a dump. Big Liam, now this is some good dump coverage. That is really good work, and eventually they have to go all the way to somebody coming from the deep space. McGrath, that was a great dump cut to relieve the pressure. Big Liam looking for options, tries to float it to the end zone. To the man he trusts, Ryan, bounces off, and couldn't get there and rescue it in the end.
I thought he got good hands to it.
That's about 3 of those we've seen.
Didn't quite stick in the claw. And now Bristol have the discs to take us to sudden death.
How important do you think the fact he's in runners, or what do you call them, trainers, rather than boots?
Maybe it does give him a little. It makes him a little less sure-footed, and that might have been the difference.
That was some break by Yo under acres of pressure. And that's a big floaty one. Jake is one of the best receivers they have. And it just bounces out of the hand. So unfortunate. If he hadn't touched it, you have to believe they would have had it in the second chance department.
I mean, I don't know what happened. He just didn't get his feet in a position to make the catch for whatever reason. And now Frizee Rascals look big themselves.
And again, that was slipping. That was Ryan slipping because he doesn't have boots on.
Yeah, well, and the back of the end zone as well is something to worry about. So if you want to put that really kind of balletic footwork at the back, it's so much easier if you have the proper boot, the proper footwear to do so. Yeah, balletic.
I do not doubt that it's a real word. I would even go as far as to say it's probably cromulent.
It is a perfectly cromulent word. Yeah, as a ballet dancer, balletic.
Oh, right. That's amazing. Okay, here comes Leopold. Can we have Leopoldic as something that's done in the grace of Leopold?
Oh, I don't know if anything can be.
That's very true. Reaching for Leopoldic, the same way one tries to attain Nirvana. They've centered it back into the middle, Wilson. And they are trying to take their time, but you can really tell how much Frizzies care about this matchup. This has been incredibly exciting for the half-8 morning game. Ryan is trying to bully Oldfield, but she's having none of it. Yo collects it.
The intensity belies the time of day, doesn't it?
Very much so. For us as well, because let's be honest, we were trying to get our way out of this game last night at the party.
Yeah,
talking
tell you
to
what.
Ed. Do we really need to be on at half-8? You know, hey, God, who
Well,
cares?
they played the stone, so we do. And I tell you what, I'm glad we did, actually, because it's been a really fun game.
Yeah.
It's a lovely
Especially
break.
for you, because it started at 9.
Whoops.
As they've got the space down the field, and he doesn't take it on the first shot. I like the holster if he didn't feel comfortable with it. Oh, you got to take that pass to Oldfield. And
whoa,
yo.
whoa.
Harsh.
So
Yo, no.
So it's not a fair game, really, Frisbee, is it?
Well, life isn't fair,
That is true.
as we established yesterday in one of the more depressing dialogues. We had a lot of different talks yesterday. That is a spicy left-handed throw and great pressure coming across. The Hero? Is that how you'd say that name? It's hardly Dig Hero, although I do dig him.
You know what? I quite like Dig Hero. I might go with
Dig Hero's pretty great. As Yo, calm and collected. It takes a lot of nerve to just go back to that disc after you have a slip-away turn like he did on the last one. And that young man is got a lot of talent, as that one just goes slightly too far ahead. I don't know who to blame that on, because it clearly can't have been Leopold's fault.
No, so it must have been the receiver error.
Jake tries to wind up and suit a big one.
Oh,
Del-
it's tipped on. No.
The Hero almost sets them up again. Now,
Catch your D's.
you do need to catch your Ds. I mean, to be fair, we've seen 2 drops bounce off hands in the end zone at either end zone at this point, so you should catch your O's as well.
Absolutely. And you feel that Frizee Rascals getting a little bit frustrated, and they're just trying to just huck their way out of it.
As Ryan picks it up and looks to hook himself. That's a big arcing pass. Well read for the W. Unfortunate as it is, Mythago had a lot of bites at the cherry, and in the end, Frizee probably were the better team.
Yeah, they deserved to take it in the end, but credit to Bristol for fighting with those Infinity Stones to keep it close right to the end.
Entertaining as hell, in fairness to them.
Yeah, we're going to take a short break here, but don't go anywhere because we'll be back with our Glasto coverage very soon.
And the quarterfinals.
Alti.tv